In this episode, we explore the Arctic on America's northernmost highway. North of Fairbanks, Alaska, only one road crosses the Arctic Circle, the Dalton Highway. Also referred to as the gateway to the Arctic, the Dalton Highway is the only road link to the Oilfields at Prudhoe Bay. Not long into the journey, we cross the Yukon River. This mighty river is frozen 7 months of the year, which is hard to believe seeing the sheer amount of water flowing downstream. While the Yukon River is completely ice-free 2 weeks after the initial breakup, we still find plenty of overflow ice on lesser tributaries in the middle of May. Some of it is of an incredibly blue color, while at other points the off ice is tinted in red. Similarly, many of the lakes are still partially frozen. Only a short distance north, we cross the Arctic Circle and enter the true Arctic. This pristine wilderness, with moose feeding peacefully along the roadside, is only broken by the permanent presence of the oil pipeline from Prudhoe Bay. As much as it doesn't fit into the landscape, it shouldn't be forgotten that there would be no road at all without the pipeline. One of the few tiny settlements along the Dalton Highway is Weisman. Boasting a population of about 20 permanent residents, this little village is a prime example of Alaskan frontier living. The inhabitants live with and off the landscape, practicing subsistence farming. Slowly, the mountains of the Brooks Range start to rise, transforming the landscape into a mountain wonderland. Because of all the dust and mud along the road, our van soon acquires a nice coating. That gives us the opportunity to get creative and properly introduce ourselves. As soon as we cross the Attribution Pass, the weather starts to deteriorate. While we drive through the fog, it even starts to snow. Surprisingly, it is here, in the apparently bleak tundra, that we start to spot a lot of wildlife. Groups of barren ground caribou roam the landscape. They mainly feed on lichen, sedges, twigs and mushrooms and are fully adapted to live in the cold north. They migrate huge distances each year in order to find food. Their split hoofs help them to walk on snow, while their double coat keeps them warm in the winter. Red foxes are constantly on the lookout for small rodents such as voles, mice and ground squirrels. During this time of the year, they also have the chance to catch one of the millions of migrating birds. More than 145 different kinds of birds have been observed in this corner of Alaska. Some of those are permanent residents such as ptarmigan, while others migrate north in the summer months. Every little waterhole is filled with geese, ducks and a variety of other birds. The most spectacular among the animals we had the luck to observe was the Musk Ox. Little bigger than ponies, these shaggy Arctic animals are rarely seen along the road. The first musk oxen we spotted were 2 males feeding along the oil pipeline. The native Inuktitut people named the musk oxen Oomingmak, which translates to the bearded one. Not long after we spotted the first 2, we were even more lucky coming upon numerous animals. In the summer, the majority of musk oxen live in herds of 8 to 20 animals. These animals have inhabited the Arctic for thousands of years, and their long, shaggy hair is well adapted to the frigid climate. Their undercoat of wool is highly prized for its softness, length, and insulation value. It is about 8 times warmer than sheep wool and softer than cashmere. It was heartwarming seeing these youngsters play around before we continued our journey towards Deadhorse. As we drove further north, the road conditions became horrendous. The last 60 kilometers to Prudhoe Bay, we were driving an average of 30 kilometers an hour because the rocks on the road became larger and sharper.
And the road is kind of rough, so we've been driving all day yesterday, all day today, a little bit of the day before that even. And yeah, it's hard going. We still got 63 kilometers left, and that's probably going to take us about 2 hours.
After 2 exhausting hours, the first industrial buildings came into sight. Deadhorse, with a population of 4,000, is nothing but an oil camp. It was every bit as unappealing as we thought it would be. After refueling, we decided to push south again, as north of the Brooks Range almost everything was still frozen and it was intensely cold at night. After being on the road for a total of 17 hours, we crossed the Attribution Pass again, just to be welcomed by another snowstorm. We finished our journey on the Dalton Highway the next day with a decent amount of mud stuck to the vehicle. We thoroughly enjoyed our time on America's northernmost highway. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up or leave a comment. Also make sure to subscribe for more videos to come.